week's nonsense was that they were declaring war in fucking group chat. With like emojis. I did not know that we would ever get to the point that emojis are part of the bombing another nation. Could you imagine if emojis had always been part of warfare and like Churchill was like, we will meet them at the beaches. Gif of Aquaman. We will never surrender. White flag, white flag, white flag. Thumbs up, pop, pop.
Hey, so I just finished a tour. I finished a tour at the end of January, and I am writing my next show. I write jokes all the time, and I thought it might be interesting for some people in the interim to let people into some of the process of being a comedian. But for some of you, I think this will be interesting. So where do you start? Okay? Because the blank page is terrifying, right? My average tour show is around 90 minutes. So how do you go from 0 minutes of jokes to a 90-minute of jokes? So often, where I start is the news, okay? It starts with the news. News jokes are easy to write, and the bar for success is easier. Partly because the setup has already been done by the world. Let's say I was going to do a joke about myself and my ex-girlfriend and how we broke up. There are so many unknowns. What kind of relationship did we have? Who caused the breakup? What kind of partner I am? What kind of partner was she? Who was to blame? There's so many things which in my storytelling I've got to convey to the audience while getting them laugh, but also to get them to understand the situation and then laugh. This is why shows get funnier the longer they go. Because by the minute it starts, you don't know much about the situation, and by the middle of the show, you know more, and then you're laughing more deeply. With news jokes, a lot of the work has already been done because we all have experienced the absurd, and then the comedian is just pushing it to the next level. So for example, everybody watched, well, most people watched the Zelensky and Trump Oval Office meeting and either were shocked by it, horrified by it, amused by it, but we still had the common experience. That is the setup. All I need to do is add a punchline or make the situation more absurd. So for example, if I did a bunch of jokes, which I did at one point, about how it would have been a better meeting if it was on Zoom, already the work of the situation has been done, and then I've just to add like connections and memories to it. So in my joke, I was talking about, Zelensky could have muted Trump. He could have had to open a solitaire game. Why do I say solitaire game? That was setting up the punchline that when Trump says, you don't have the cards, he could say, actually, I do have the cards on my solitaire. But this is what I'm saying. Topical jokes are easier. So, for example, at the comedy show I did tonight, I did a joke about the group chat in America, the group chat with the missiles. I did a joke about Kanye West.
No, but technology, and here's a sign that technology has moved so fast, right? Around a month ago, at the American Grammys, Kanye West showed up with his wife, butt naked, right? And then if you see it, clap your hands if you saw this. Butt naked. She was wearing a dress, but it was less than a neck. It was just like butt naked, right? But the other thing is, I heard about this, I went to Google, I typed it, and bam! It appeared in my face. This is, like, I gotta tell you, you young people, you don't realize you have nudity, like, it's just easy. Like that, you can get it. Like, literally, you just type it into your phone and it appears. Back in the day. There was a scandal that some of you know about where Janet Jackson at the Super Bowl was dancing and singing with Justin Timberlake, and there was a wardrobe malfunction, and her titty popped right who had seen the tape. And he sat us all around like a bedtime story. And he told us, it just popped out and it was shining because it was sweating. And it was dripping. We're like, tell us more! Tell us more of this tale! He was great.
A joke about a bunch of news jokes, right? About stuff that's been going on the last few months, okay? And that would not be a good tour. If I just did a bunch of topical jokes, it would not be a good tour because things move on. Stuff is interesting for like a month or two. But what I'm searching for as I'm talking about the news, as I'm doing jokes about what's going on, is I'm looking for something deeper, something universal that will stand the test of time. That is more than just this happened in the news. And I think I slightly touched it in the joke that was about Kanye West. Because I was talking about Kanye West when his wife went to the Grammys with him and was almost naked. And this joke which I did, I think I hit on something worth expanding, because that idea of the world changing and people having more access to pornography, nudity, and knowing about other people's lives and things like social media beyond what is necessarily healthy is, I think, very interesting, right? So when I'm doing all these news jokes, what I'm looking for is something a bit deeper than this is absurd, and then I start to grow it, okay? And so, for example, my last show, the final version of the show was illustrated in this mind map, okay? You see this bonkers mind map, because this is how I write my jokes, right? Is they start on notepads, and then when they're ready, I put them into a mind map. Okay, I don't know how visible that is, right? Each one of those things, each one of those sentences is a joke, okay? And gradually I fill up the whole screen with jokes. And just so you know how far I have to go, this is my current show. My current show, which will be 90 minutes next year, has 3 jokes. A joke about language, and a joke about scandal. And that's all I've got. But the joke about language, the ninjas joke, top tier. The joke about scandal, not yet super funny, but will get funny. And that's my process. So what you will see if you keep coming up, subscribe if you're interested, is over the next year, as I write my next show, I will check in here and I'll show you my progress. I'll talk about what's working, what's not working. And yes, hopefully some of you will be interested.